Hi all, Graham here, and here is something slightly different. Last weekend at Reading Wargames Club, Wayne and I ran an in-house Saga competition. Very much influenced by Rich Keenan's Iron Man tournament, and we thought we'd try and do something similar. I had a look at all my Age of Alexander and Age of Hannibal armies, and I reckon I could have made 8 or 9 warbands. So I thought, let's see what we can do. We wanted a format that was fun, quick, aggressive, and made players play recklessly. And here it is. And it seemed to work well. However, at the end of this video, Wayne and I will review what went well and what we would change. Hopefully the pictures that follow will show the warbands clearly. The first one was the Gauls, warlord on a chariot, 4 units of 8 warriors, and 1 unit of levy with bow. Next, Republican Romans, and warlord was a consul, just a standard warlord, 3 units of warriors, 1 unit of velites with javelins, and a unit of half and guard. Next was the Numidians, mounted warlord, 3 units of mounted warriors with javelins, 1 unit of foot javelins levy, and an elephant. Next, the Macedonians, 3 units of warriors with sarissa, a unit of half and guard, companions, and a unit of levy with bow. Next, a fun one, another Gallic warband, this time predominantly chariots. So warlord on a chariot, 2 more points of chariots, a unit of 8 mounted warriors, and 2 points of foot warriors. And here is the first 5 warbands as listed. Next was the Carthaginians, 1 elephant. This time I kept the warriors as citizens, so there was no contingent at all. There was a unit of mounted half and guard, and there was 1 unit of levy javelins. First of 2 Greek city-states, this time the Spartans, with 2 units of half and guard with their special Spartan rule, 2 units of foot warriors, and a unit of levy. Next, the Persians, looking good on paper, I think. 2 combined formations, a unit of mounted warriors, and a unit of levy as well. So they look good. Next would be the Indians, 2 elephants, 2 units of levy with bow, and 1 unit of half and guard with heavy weapon. Here's the Athenians, 3 units of warrior hoplites, 1 unit of levy, and 1 unit of half and guard. And here is the second 5 factions. And here is some pictures of the day. We were really lucky that we had the back room at Reading Wargames Club, so it was nice and quiet, just the 5 games being played there, which gave it quite an inclusive feel to us. But yeah, in principle, all the games looked good. They had a good feel about them, and they were all enjoyable. From a personal point of view, I'd like to mention my second game against Oren. I was playing the Athenians against the Spartans, and I had the joint lowest score in 1 game against him, and he absolutely spanked me. Well played, Oren. I know he was laughing about it, a relative newcomer coming back to the game, but great fun was had by all. Here's some stats I took from the day, and you can see the Gauls certainly like the massacre points type of game, but so do the Numidians, which is a little bit of a surprise. Individual winner was Rich. He did really well, and he lost his first game to Rob, but he still scored highly, so just goes to prove the format of the day worked. Here's a few notes that I sent to the players before we started our little mini tournament and give them an idea of what was coming, and this is something that Wayne and I talk about now. Right, hello Wayne.
Hello Graham, hello viewers.
So it's a Wednesday night club night, and we are 3 days post our Iron Man event, although I branded it Age of Blood. And that was deliberate because of the style of game we were trying to get. Now, first of all, it's very important to say
our influence for doing this. And last year, was it last year or 2 years ago?
Probably 2 years now.
2 years ago, I
would
think
thought.
Rich Keenan came and did an Ironman event per se with Age of Alexander, which was just out, and Age of Hannibal, and we all played it, and it was a great success. And we thought maybe we could do the same here at the club. So Wayne and I had a chat, and I had a look at my armies, and within our group there are 10 people who could play, and I could field 9 armies, which is unbelievable. I didn't realise I had quite so many. And with Wayne's bits and pieces added on, we made a 10th faction. The object of the day was to introduce people to the 2 books, the 2 supplements, and we wanted quick, fast play. Wayne and I talked about that, and I mean, can you remember our original thoughts, what we were trying to aim for, Wayne?
Yeah, so because a lot of the players weren't familiar with the boards, what we decided was that we would go for 5-point factions. That would help speed up the games. And also we'd ensure that the army compositions were pretty even, with nothing being too powerful. So there was no sort of optimising the
numbers. So everything was vanilla, for want of a better word. So all the units were either, half and guard were 4s, warriors were 8, or levy were 12. There was no making them 9s, and also we did insist that the players used the composition we provided and didn't chop them round to suit. Because within our group there are some more experienced players, and possibly they could get an advantage from that. And we were trying to make as even playing field as possible.
I think the other thing that we decided quite early on was to keep the scenario very simple. So we just did massacre points. And that was, again, to encourage people to get stuck in, really, rather than turtling or castling on the back edge. So,
I mean, that works as well, because you can actually lose a game, 25-24, but that 24 points would really serve you, because it wasn't winning the games, it was the total massacre points over 3 games was how we decided the winner. And that encouraged people just to be quite, well, to get a bloodlust almost, I think. So you had to attack, and it wasn't almost to the point that you think, it wasn't a question of, it was scoring points rather than protecting your army, which does give a really fun, aggressive game.
we kept the terrain fairly simple on the tables so that neither side would have an advantage. We tried to make it even for both sides, so it didn't matter which side of the table you were on. And
we tried to keep it within book as well.
Yeah.
And mostly we did. There was one game between books. And yeah, I know you can play between books, but we did try to keep them, and we tried to keep them as historic as possible as well. So
yeah, we paired the factions up. So we had Indians against Persians, we had Gauls against Romans,
Athenians against Spartans.
Yeah, so I felt that it was a good matchup. The other thing we also did to make things run a little bit smoother on the day was we knew we were going to play 3 games, so we pre-drew each round so that we knew on each table which players were playing with which factions.
Yeah. And also another thing that we did on the games, I was very strict on the timing. That the game started on a dong, and after 90 minutes, no matter what they were doing, the game finished. And there was no 5 seconds over, it had to finish. That way we weren't rushing our third game, playing less turns, and that worked well. But also indirectly and almost subconsciously, that made people play more recklessly, which is what I was kind of after as well, was to get people to get stuck in, and that worked well as well.
Is there anything you changed next time? Because I think the guys I spoke to, unfortunately I couldn't make it on the day, but the guys I spoke to, the overwhelming feedback was very positive.
I don't know. It's interesting. We'll look at the stats later, and I've done a little bit of number crunching on the stats. But there was a couple of factions that did score less. Now, the two of the top 3 players didn't play on that one particular table, and the averaging on those tables was less. So, if you did play on those tables, on that table 5.
And that was the
Greek city-states,
city-states,
and they're a defensive they're defensive factions anyway. But by nature, I felt you had a disadvantage. Whereas if you played 2 Gaulish factions, which one person did, and he came in the top 3, and even the Numidians were scoring well. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to exclude factions because they weren't aggressive enough, but for an even playing field, maybe I would.
Yeah.
Because you want everybody to have a chance. No, that was good.
Did you feel the number of players was about right for the time available?
10 was good because everybody was involved. I think if it was any bigger,
It becomes harder to administer.
I think it would have been harder to administer, and we managed to do it. And also, I would say the club members helped me an awful lot by getting the tables set up, getting the terrain set up, and I gave them maps so they could do that. And that makes a big difference. You've got to have people around you to help you set up and arrange and put away as well. So that made a big difference as well. So and we were lucky with the club. I mean, one thing that was good was there was someone in, and they halfway through the day there was burgers being cooked and chips and all sorts of things like that. So yeah, it was just a really good fun day, and I would recommend it to anybody really if you just want to get people involved with the factions. One thing I did do was some of the boards, obviously the players haven't seen. As an example, the Indians, across their top board they have orders tactical, and some players have never seen that type of board before. So I wrote, of the 10 factions, there were 3 or 4 where there were things that might cause confusion. Greeks with their line of battle as well, or form line. I gave an explanation, so when players came, even though they've not seen the books, they had an idea just how to play them and what to expect, and I think that worked well. But what about you, Wayne? Could you think of anything else that would need changing really?
A bit difficult to say as I wasn't there, but I think the only thing I would look out for is what we've just mentioned about if a couple of factions are particularly not suited to massacre points, to gaining massacre points, then maybe look to swap those out. So, is there going to be an Age of Blood 2?
Yeah, I think we can. I think within our club, we're very fortunate. We have a good Saga community, and everybody who was there, I think, would come back. So, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we will do it again. Anyway, listen, Wayne, thank you for your help, your pre-help, the planning stage.
All part of the service?
All part of the service. And if it inspires other people to do the same sort of thing, then I think that's good as well. Okay, cheers.
Yep, a great day. And if you're watching this and you think, I fancy doing that with a few people down our club, then this video and this experience has been a success. Anyway, if you like what you saw, like it, subscribe, share with like-minded. Take care and see you all soon.